was the most responsible for this loss against the Raiders? Was it Brock, the O-line, Demaryius Thomas, the running backs, the special teams, Gary Kubiak? Need I go on?
Oh, you got to it. You finally got to it at the end. Gary Kubiak's got to take the blame for this. This offense has been anemic all year long. There have been a couple exceptions at times against the Patriots, but not totally. If you take away the overtime, and you can't take away the overtime, but in 4 quarters, they scored 21 points, I think, in 4 quarters. That's not anything special in this man's league, and against Green Bay. But other than that, this has been a team that has been just scuffling along all year long, no matter who the quarterback is. So if you take the quarterback out of the equation, that Brett Favre, Dan Marino couldn't do any better than these 2 guys. You got a Hall of Famer and a guy with a strong arm and a young guy. So if it's not the quarterback, and it's not the running backs who ran well for weeks, and if it's not the offensive line, which couldn't stop a cold yesterday, if it's not the wide receivers and it's not the tight ends, well, then it's got to be the guy, A, who's calling the plays.
Who is calling the plays? Have they determined that?
Well, I kept seeing Peyton Manning behind a sheet of paper. Did you ever look at him yesterday? He was behind a sheet of paper.
He was the man behind the curtain.
So I guess he was sending something to somebody, I don't know, aliens or something. But no, it's Gary Kubiak's calling the plays. He's getting input from Greg Knapp. He's getting input from Rick Dennison, and then he makes the decision. Guess what, Gary? You had an opportunity to be up 28-0. The Raiders would have given up. We know teams give up after a while. You go, we're not in this game. We got no chance. But at 12-0, Jack Del Rio could go out and tell your players, I believe, we can go out. All we got to do is score on a couple of plays, and that's what they did. They had 2 touchdowns. The Broncos had no touchdowns. The Broncos, as I pointed out to Gary Kubiak yesterday, have never in their history gone 2 games against a division foe and not scored an offensive touchdown.
You and I have very different opinions on this. I happen to believe that coaches stand on the sideline and go, "That a baby, touchdown!" Or "You get over here." And players determine the outcome of the game. So if I'm going to blame somebody for a loss, it's going to be a player, not the coach. There's so many players to blame here. I'll just name a couple. Michael Schofield, right tackle. He saw Oakland's Mack truck coming at him, and he ducked. And then that Mack truck ran over his quarterback repeatedly. And if I get past the offensive line, then we'll go to Demaryius Thomas. He's getting paid $70 million thereabouts over the next few years. Way more than the coach you're blaming. So I expect a $70 million wide receiver, when the ball is thrown right here or maybe a little behind him at the goal line, that he catch that ball. And he didn't. He dropped the ball twice in key situations, and he fumbled once. So on the pecking order, I put DT at the top, Schofield second, and your man, Kubiak, way down the list.